Venom, every host and their enhanced abilities explained. Spider-Man, from Spider-Man 3, 2007. In Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3, the Venom symbiote bonds with Peter Parker first, and this connection becomes the foundation for all of Venom's future abilities. By attaching to Spider-Man, the symbiote copies his enhanced physiology and upgrades every one of his powers. Peter's strength, speed, reflexes, and agility are all pushed far beyond their normal limits, turning him into a sharper, faster, and more aggressive version of himself. The symbiote also learns how to create organic black webbing and tendrils, something it had never done before. From Peter's DNA and fighting style, Venom permanently gains wall crawling, web swinging, and acrobatic movement, abilities that every future host inherits automatically. But this power comes with a cost. The symbiote intensifies Peter's emotions, feeding on his aggression and pushing him into darker, more violent behavior. This bond isn't just a temporary boost. It becomes the blueprint that shapes everything Venom becomes afterward. Eddie Brock, Spider-Man 3. When the symbiote finally rejects Peter Parker and chooses Eddie Brock, the change is dramatic, not in physical size, but in attitude, intensity, and violence. This version of Venom doesn't transform into a massive, muscle-covered monster. Instead, the symbiote molds itself tightly to Eddie's natural, slender build, creating a creature that looks stretched, sharp, and almost skeletal. This makes him feel unnervingly human, yet completely alien, a twisted, corrupted reflection of Spider-Man. Because the symbiote had already bonded with Peter, it carries all of Spider-Man's powers into Eddie. Enhanced strength, blistering speed, wall crawling, spider-like agility, and organic black webbing. But the way Eddie uses these abilities is entirely different. Peter tried to resist the symbiote's influence. Eddie embraces it completely. He lets the creature's anger, desperation, and jealousy drive every movement, making his Venom far more violent and unpredictable. The symbiote amplifies Eddie's darkest emotions, his hatred for Peter, his need to prove himself, and his obsessive desire for revenge. As a result, his attacks feel wild and animalistic. The tendrils strike fast, his leaps are fueled by rage rather than discipline, and every hit is meant to hurt, not just to win. Eddie doesn't fight with Spider-Man's precision. He fights with chaos. Eddie Brock, the Venom of the Sony universe. When the symbiote bonds with Eddie Brock in the Sony universe, it transforms him into a towering, monstrous figure, a creature far bigger and more intimidating than Eddie's human form. The symbiote reshapes his body into a living mass of power. Huge claws, shifting tendrils, a hulking silhouette, and that iconic razor-toothed grin. Every part of Venom's appearance reflects brute strength and overwhelming physical dominance. But the movie also reveals a darker side of the symbiote. Venom naturally craves human brains and organs for sustenance. Eddie is the one who forces that instinct to change. Through constant arguing, bargaining, and borderline survival negotiations, he pushes Venom to redirect his hunger, devouring only criminals instead of innocent people. This becomes the strange moral foundation of their bond. Not heroic, not evil, but something uniquely in between. With Eddie as its host, Venom unlocks a full range of abilities. His strength skyrockets to superhuman levels, letting him smash through concrete walls, overpower armed attackers, and leap across city blocks. His durability becomes monstrous, able to withstand bullets, explosions, and blunt force impact with barely any damage. The symbiote's liquid-like body gives him limitless combat creativity, forming shields, tendrils, blades, and restraints in an instant. And with a powerful healing factor, Eddie recovers from injuries that should be fatal. What makes this duo truly special is their partnership. Unlike many hosts who lose themselves, Eddie forms a chaotic but functional coexistence with Venom. They constantly talk, argue, and negotiate inside the same body. Yet this conflict actually creates their strength. Neither fully dominates the other. Instead, they move and fight as one unpredictable, unstoppable entity. Wang, She-Venom. When the symbiote temporarily bonds with Wang, it creates one of the most striking transformations in the entire Sony Venom universe. The moment the organism merges with her, it reshapes Anne into She-Venom, a taller, sharper, more agile version of the creature, blending monstrous power with a sleek, almost predatory elegance. Unlike Eddie, whose bond with Venom is chaotic and constantly argumentative, Anne's connection is quick, efficient, and surprisingly stable. For the short time she carries Venom, the symbiote amplifies her physical abilities far beyond human limits. Her strength becomes immense, allowing her to overpower armed guards, lift Eddie's unconscious body with ease, and move through danger with calm precision. The symbiote sharpens all her senses and reflexes, giving her speed and agility that even Eddie couldn't achieve instantly. She-Venom's tendrils strike fast and clean, able to disable enemies without hesitation. Her appearance is intimidating: razor-sharp teeth, elongated claws, and a sculpted alien form. Yet she moves with a fluidity and control that shows how quickly Venom can adapt to a new host. But what makes Anne's transformation so important is how it shows Venom's versatility. With her, the symbiote becomes more strategic, more balanced, and far more controlled. She isn't overwhelmed by rage or instinct. Instead, she channels the symbiote's power with clarity and purpose, even using it to save Eddie's life. Vorse. There are rare moments when the Venom symbiote abandons its usual human hosts and reaches for something entirely different. One of the strangest and most iconic examples is Vorse, the form Venom takes when it merges with a horse. The fusion happens out of pure survival instinct. Once the symbiote wraps around the horse, everything changes. Its muscles expand, becoming exaggerated and monstrous. Black organic armor spreads across its body like liquid steel. Its eyes glow with the signature white venom pattern, stretched across a horse's elongated face. Sharp tendrils whip from its sides, giving the creature a demonic silhouette. The result is a nightmare hybrid, a four-legged beast with the raw strength of a horse. Flash Thompson. In the post-credit scene of Spider-Man: No Way Home, we see a crucial moment. A small fragment of Venom is left behind in the MCU, stranded in Tom Holland's universe without Eddie Brock. And that tiny piece opens the door for a completely new kind of Venom host. One of the most likely candidates is Flash Thompson. When the symbiote bonds with Flash, it experiences something it never truly had with Peter or Eddie: discipline. Flash Thompson isn't driven by jealousy or desperation. He's a soldier, a fighter, who has endured real pain and carries deep emotional scars, especially after losing his legs in combat. And the symbiote reacts differently to that kind of resolve. Instead of twisting him into a monstrous form, the symbiote adapts to Flash's controlled mindset. It forms a sleek, tactical, almost armor-like exterior around him, turning him into a living weapon built for precision rather than chaos. Flash gains the full range of symbiote-enhanced powers: super strength, agility, wall-crawling, organic webbing, camouflaging, and weapon-shaped tendrils. But what makes this bond unique is the control. Flash doesn't let the symbiote dominate him, and the symbiote respects his discipline. Their relationship becomes a partnership. Flash channels the symbiote's power through training and strategy, becoming something entirely new: Agent Venom. A soldier empowered by an alien organism, yet steady enough to keep its hunger and instincts in check. And with that leftover symbiote piece now roaming the MCU, Flash Thompson rising as Agent Venom isn't just possible, it's the most natural evolution of the story.